Morning to everybody. I hope everyone is doing well today. I will take for the members' notice. I will happily take everybody's thank yous for having a meeting at 9:30 on St. Patrick's Day and not 9:30 the day after St. Patrick's Day, as everybody is most surely going to be celebrating with Irish soda bread, like my grandmother Sarah Flanagan would be doing in years past. So with that, we're going to call our voting meeting of this House Education Committee to order. I'd like to remind everyone that the meeting is being recorded and live streamed for the public, and for any members that are participating virtually, I'm looking at you, Rep. Curry, please mute your microphone. For those attending in person, please silence all devices, and we will now take attendance. Tom, if you will be so kind.
Chairman Schweier.
Here.
Representatives Abney.
Designation.
Representative Curry.
Designation online.
Friel.
Here.
Isaacson.
Here.
Kazim.
Designation.
Nelson. Here. O'Mara.
Designation.
Friel Otten.
Designation.
Probst.
Designation.
Prokopiak.
Designation.
Smith Waddell.
Designation.
Takak.
Designation.
Young.
You're our favorite for a reason, man.
Chairman Cutler.
Present.
Representatives Anderson. Present. Cooper. Here. Diorsi. Here. Gleim. Here. Kozak.
Designation.
McKenzie.
Here.
Ortitai.
Designation.
Rosel. Schlegel. Shalaba. Watro. Quorum is present.
Thank you, sir. The first bill we'd like to consider is House Bill 354, introduced by Representative Solomon. Is there a motion? Representative Isaacson, thank you. Is there a second? Representative Friel, thank you. Alicia, will you take a second and explain House Bill 354, please?
House Bill 354, sponsored by Representative Solomon, requires the Department of Education to develop guidelines for a new program entitled What is Your Pennsylvania Story? It will require the school districts, intermediate units, area career and technical schools, charter schools, cyber charter schools, and regional charter schools or non-public schools to have the choice to implement the program. The program will take place during the 25-26 and 26-27 school years. If implemented, the school entity is required to provide notice to all parents or guardians of the program.
Thank you, and I'd like to recognize Representative Gleim for comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to give some shout out to Representative Solomon, who couldn't be here today. We worked together on this bill last session, and it was drafted in anticipation of the 250th anniversary of the United States. Very excited about all that's going to be happening around the state, because our Commonwealth has played a pivotal part in shaping our country. And it's important that we provide some type of guidelines to teachers and students to learn and reflect on our nation, especially during this 250th anniversary. I just want to say, you know, I'm old enough to have lived through, I was in 6th grade during the bicentennial, and we did a lot of these same similar things during that time. And so I'm really happy to be able to present this bill. I hope you'll all vote for it. It has received wide, broad bipartisan support last session, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any other questions or comments on House Bill 354? I will just say on behalf of Chair Solomon, I'd like to thank you, Representative Gleim, very much. This was something that we had collectively worked on, and by we, I mean you and Jared, collectively worked on last year to try to get this language to a place where everybody not only was comfortable with it, but it would have the impact that everybody was hoping to. You were incredibly helpful on that. I know Chair Solomon has expressed that to me directly on multiple occasions, and I want to thank you for your hard work on this. Seeing no other comment, do you need a roll call?
Yes.
Okay, we'll take a roll call on this.
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representative Abney.
Yes by designation.
Representative Curry.
Yes by designation.
Friel. Isaacson.
Yeah, that was a yes. It's too early for that, sir.
Kazim.
Yes by designation.
Nelson. Yes. O'Mara.
Yes by designation.
Friel Otten.
Yes by designation.
Probst.
Yes by designation.
Prokopiak.
Yes by designation.
Smith Waddell.
Yes by designation.
Takak.
Yes by designation.
Young. Chairman Cutler.
Yes.
Representatives Anderson. Yes. Cooper. Yes. Diorsi. Yes. Gleim. Yes. Kozak.
Designation, yes.
McKenzie. Yes. Ortitai.
Designation, yes.
Rosal. Yes. Schlegel. Yes. Shalaba. Yes. Watro. Yes. The yeas are 26, the nays are 0.
Thank you. House Bill 354 passes and will be referred accordingly. Thank you. With that, we're going to move forward on House Bill 819. There is an amendment. In the meantime, Chair Malagari, why don't you come on up? We'll introduce you in just a moment. Is there a motion to consider? There is a motion by Representative Isaacson, seconded by Representative Young. Thank you both. And but before we consider it, I am going to offer an amendment, A00117. I will make that motion. Is there a second? Thank you, Representative Nelson. Moving forward on the amendment, Alicia, will you describe it quickly? Thank you. You could explain the bill and then the amendment together.
House Bill 819, sponsored by Representative Malagari. Beginning in the 25-26 school year, school entities would be able to apply to receive a grant to provide secondary students with expanded and monetary opportunities to enroll in rigorous courses of study. It also establishes an access to rigorous courses of study for all students grant program within the department. The grant program is subject to funding being appropriated. It would also require PDE to provide funding to school entities to subsidize the cost for students to take end-of-course exams to the extent that funding is available.
Thank you. And Amendment 117, which is up for consideration right now, which I introduced, will require entities with fewer than 8 courses to be eligible for the increased course offerings accordingly, and requires PDE to reimburse the exam fee based on a poverty threshold of 185%. This will ultimately, if enacted and if funded, will reduce its overall fiscal impact to the Commonwealth and make the initial intention of the bill a little bit more narrow to those schools. Are there any questions on Amendment 117? Comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call on that.
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representatives Abney.
Yes by designation.
Curry.
Yes by designation.
Friel. Yes. Isaacson. Yes. Kazim.
Yes by designation.
Nelson. O'Mara.
Yes by designation.
Friel Otten.
Yes by designation.
Probst.
Yes by designation.
Prokopiak.
Yes by designation.
Smith Waddell.
Yes by designation.
Takak.
Yes by designation.
Young. Yes. Chairman Cutler.
Yes.
Representatives Anderson. No. Cooper. Yes. Diorsi. No. Gleim. No. Kozak.
Yes by designation.
McKenzie. No. Ortitai.
Yes by designation.
Rosal. Yes. Schlegel. Yes. Shalaba. No. Watro. Yes. The yeas are 21, the nays are 5.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to recognize the maker of the underlying bill, Representative Malagari, for comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the entire committee for having me here today, along with those that helped. Alicia and Kate, thank you very much for your help in getting this to this point. This bill that we're considering right now, House Bill 819, we actually brought up last session in order to help students achieve the ability to take advanced coursework in high school to get college credit. It's something that was brought to me. It was brought to me from students at North Penn High School. And they came to me asking about this. And I said, well, I mean, it's great for you to want to try and get funding to help you pay for these exams. Have you thought about maybe trying to do this for more than just your own school group? They said, well, not really. I said, okay, let's make this a learning opportunity then. We're going to draft a bill and we're going to see this thing fully through. So we were able to get that done and passed last session. And as a exercise in education for them, teaching them about the bill process, we were able to actually get a good piece of legislation through that was amended. And today, the entirety of that bill is reflected with some changes that we did talk about. First off, I want to mention that this bill needs to be funded. That's the first thing. This sets up the program, but funding will have to come later. So what you would be voting on right now is not an expenditure of funds. What you're voting on is setting up a program. It is up to us, the legislature, to put those funds into place. So if we have the program in place, and if we're able to get the funding, then we can actually see this actually work out. So outside of that, this will allow for professional development. It'll allow for educators to learn and to be trained in teaching this advanced coursework, to allow for that, and also for those schools that don't necessarily have the coursework, this brings them able to do so. Furthermore, there's a means to this as well, and you have to be 100%, 185% below the poverty threshold in order to qualify. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I don't have any further comment. We did go over this last session as well, so I would appreciate the members' support for this and answer any questions that they might have.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to recognize Chair Cutler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I know that you and your staff have done a great deal of work on this, and I thank you for that. I also know that it passed last session, and I supported it last session. I'd like to explain briefly why. At a time that we're getting creative and looking at higher education in and of itself and what the impacts are to everyday families and students, I think it's also important that we look at what those impacts are directly to those individuals seeking to take those tests. In my own case, my son dual enrolled as well as took AP courses. I can tell you as a parent and as a tuition payer, it was a substantial savings. And if we want to actually pass on real savings to potential college students, this is one avenue to do so. Personally, I would like to see some expansion into the dual enrollment piece as well for these same individuals. I also wanted to comment on the chair's amendment. I personally supported it because it actually did reduce the overall cost of the bill as compared to last year. And I think that's important. We need to be targeted in our investments, particularly in times where budgets, we all know the challenges that we're facing as we head to the upcoming budgets. So while this bill is not yet perfect in my eyes, I do think that it is worthy of consideration to move forward to the full floor. Look forward to hopefully working with the prime sponsor to address a more targeted expansion also into the dual enrollment world, because I know one of the calculations that we made on a personal level was, why risk taking the test and getting a 3, 4, or 5 that may or may not be accepted versus just taking the course? And if we could open up that opportunity for young students as well, I think that'd be huge. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions or comments on the legislation?
Anderson.
Representative Anderson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for recognizing me. I was an AP teacher for 20 years. The College Board, I think there's some things we have to know about this before we vote on it. The College Board is not an education entity. It is a private company. They call themselves College Board, but my concern over this bill, while well-intended, and I personally had kids within my district, kids that I taught, who could not afford the test, and we did find avenues within our district to help them with the cost of the test. The College Board is losing business to dual enrollment and college in the classroom. Dual enrollment and college in the classroom is far better for kids because the AP test, you have to score a 3, 4, 5 to get college credit, and then it's up to the college to accept that credit. And especially in the sciences and math, most colleges are not even accepting them anymore unless you get a 5. There is value in taking the course, and to take the course doesn't cost anything. Because if you take the course, it's on your transcript, it looks really good, and it helps you with college acceptance. With that said, I'm in opposition to this bill, which may surprise you, only because it's going to put a lot of money into the pockets of the College Board, and kids have other alternatives. They take dual enrollment or college in the classroom, which lots of high schools are going to. Those 3 credits are automatic. So if you dual enroll at a community college, those credits are going to transfer to Pitt or to Penn State. Mr. Chairman, my own kids took it as well, but I had them take dual enrollment, and I actually, being an AP teacher, would encourage parents to do dual enrollment or to do college in the classroom because those credits are guaranteed. So it is a risk. In fact, the College Board, because they didn't want to lose money on people taking the tests, about 2 to 3 years ago, started making the kids pay in October to lock them into the test. They didn't allow them, it used to be you would allow them to make up their mind in April as to whether they were prepared for the test or not. So, Mr. Chairman, I am in opposition to this, not because of the intent, but because of this is just going to put more money into a private entity. And the public school system also is rated, they get a score from the state as to how good of a school district they are. And one of those benchmarks is how many courses, AP courses you offer. And we're putting more kids in AP courses than we ever have before. And those kids are, I would say suffering, but it's not the best for them, because we're putting them into a course just so school districts can artificially elevate their score for how good of a school district they are. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions or comments on Representative Gleim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say that I agree with my colleagues' remarks and that I do appreciate the intent of the bill. I would just want to encourage school districts to do this on their own. They have special funds, I think, for this, or maybe they could actually reach out to the community or, you know, and keep it locally controlled, basically, and not have the state do this. And part of the reason also is exactly what he said. Over the years, part of the problem we have with the trades not having enough students is because our counselors in our schools push kids to take these AP exams, and now we're going to incentivize it when we really haven't gotten to that point yet through our workforce pathways to really set these kids up to where they really need to be going for their futures based off of their desires. So I think that this bill just needs some tweaks to it, and then I think I could be actually in favor of it. But until then, I think I'm going to be a no. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Are any other questions or comments on the bill as amended? I'd like to just make a couple of points. First and foremost, I want to thank Representative Malagari for bringing this forward again, sir. This was something that we had worked on in great deal last session, not only with the original legislation, but we added all of the teacher education components to it last year, which is now actually in this bill. I'd like to thank Representative Bellman, who's not here, but he was the number 2 on this bill who had brought some of those issues to us at the very beginning. Second point I'd like to make, contrary to the way that this bill was very candidly originally framed, this is not a bill for any one particular vendor. We do not run bills for one vendor in this committee. If we did, we'd be here a long time, and I think some of our friends in the government affairs and lobbying community out in the audience and watching at home might get frustrated at times that I don't run bills for one particular vendor. But this is, in fact, vendor neutral. There are more than one company that is in this space that has the opportunity to work with individual school districts, charter schools, cyber schools, private schools, whomever, to be able to offer coursework and testing services that individual colleges, whether they're in Pennsylvania or outside of Pennsylvania, would accept for college credit. This is an opportunity for students to have options on their in front of them. And it's not for any one particular testing corporation. Lastly, I'd like to shout out Representative Isaacson, all of your dual enrollment work that you did that last year, which was included in last year's budget, and if I'm not mistaken, was included in Governor Shapiro's budget. Again, funding is getting a lot of love today, so I look forward to further conversations on dual enrollment that I have no doubt that you will lead those conversations on. So if any member wants to talk more about dual enrollment, Rep. Isaacson has been at the very forefront of that conversation, and if you want her cell phone, I'll be more than happy to give it to you. Sorry, Mary, I did that for you. Anyway, with that, seeing no other comments, we'll take, yes, sir. I usually don't for a second time, but it's your first term, please, by all means, sir.
With all due respect, the College Board dominates the market on these tests. In fact, they have a monopoly on these tests.
Sir, with all due respect, this isn't a debate.
There's no school that I know that has any other testing, advanced testing, other than the College Board. So the College Board is the only thing out there.
I'm going to take a roll call vote at this point in time. And Tom, if you'll be so kind.
Chairman Schweier,
Yes.
Representatives Abney,
Yes by designation.
Curry,
Yes by designation.
Friel,
Yes. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Paul.
Isaacson, Kazim,
Yes by designation.
Nelson, O'Mara,
Yes by designation.
Friel Otten,
Yes by designation.
Probst,
Yes by designation.
Prokopiak,
Yes by designation.
Smith Waddell,
Yes by designation.
Takak,
Yes by designation.
Young. Chairman Cutler,
Yes.
Representatives Anderson,
No.
Cooper, Diorsi, Gleim,
No.
Kozak,
Yes by designation.
McKenzie, Ortitai,
Yes by designation.
Rosel, Schlegel, Shalaba, Watro. The yeas are 19, the nays are 7.
Thank you, sir. House Bill 819 is reported from the House Education Committee as amended. We have been asked to re-refer, House Bill 575 by Representative Banta to the Military Affairs and Veterans Preparedness Committee. And is there a motion to do so? Thank you, Chair Cutler. I will second that. Are there any questions or comments for the request to re-refer? Seeing none. There are no negative votes on the Democratic side. All Democrats will be yes, and same with Republicans?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, sir. So the motion that bill has been re-referred. Moving forward to other business, we have four resolutions. The first, Representative Isaacson, which designates April 2025 as Community College Month. Is there a motion to consider? Rep. Isaacson. Is there a second? No roll call. All right. So Representative Friel, thank you. Now there is an amendment to it, and it's Representative Watro, Amendment A00115. And Representative Watro, you'll make the motion to consider. Is there a second? Chair Cutler, thank you. And Alicia, will you describe the resolution quickly, and then we'll have a conversation on the amendment.
The House Resolution 64 by Representative Isaacson designates the month of April 2025 as Community College Month in Pennsylvania.
And Representative Watro, would you like to talk about your amendment at all, sir? You good? I know it was just changing updating some of the details, but anything beyond that? Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments on the amendment? Seeing none, are there any negative votes from anyone on the amendment? Okay, so the amendment A00115 has been adopted unanimously. And Representative Isaacson, would you like to talk about the underlying resolution, ma'am?
Just briefly, I would like to thank Representative Watro for his amendment so that we can be up to date and current. And I would ask everyone for an affirmative vote in support of recognizing our community colleges and all the good work they do educating our students within their community. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments on HR 64? I'm going to ask members to save all of our love for our community colleges for our own social media. So moving forward, are there any negative votes on the resolution as amended? Seeing none, the resolution as amended is adopted unanimously, and we'll go to the entire floor. Thank you. House Resolution 91 by Representative Pashinsky designates March 2025 as Music in Our School Month in Pennsylvania. Is there a motion to consider? Representative Friel, thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Representative Nelson. And are there any questions or comments on Resolution 91? Seeing none, all Democrats will be in the affirmative. Do you need a roll call, sir?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Seeing that there are no negative votes, Resolution 91 is adopted and will be sent to the full chamber. Thank you. House Resolution 107 by Chair Benninghoff. Is there a motion to consider? Representative Cutler, is there a second? Representative Isaacson, thank you, ma'am. Chair, would you like to discuss HR 107 quickly?
Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, thank you for bringing this up. I know that Chair Benninghoff, this is very important to him. He unfortunately had a conflict with the Turnpike Commission meeting this morning, so he was unable to be here. He did wish me to highlight, however, the merits of the resolution and the fact that the student body once again has broken a record in terms of their fundraising abilities. I believe the number was $17.7 million that was ultimately raised. And I know that Chair Benninghoff is very proud of that effort on behalf of the students, and it's my hope that we can recognize them on the floor here soon. And thank you very much for the timely scheduling of this, Mr. Chairman.
My absolute pleasure. As somebody who's an obnoxious Penn State alumni and fan, just knowing how incredibly important Thon has been, not only for the students involved, not only for the university, but for the children that they have helped through the years. I know some of those children personally who have been impacted by the philanthropy of the largest philanthropic student-run organization in the entire United States. I want to thank Chair Benninghoff for bringing it up, and thank you, Chair Cutler, for your quality remarks on that. Are there any further questions or comments on House Bill 107? Seeing none, all Democrats will be in the affirmative. Are there any negative votes from?
Don't see any.
Okay.
All affirmative, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. House Resolution 107 has been adopted unanimously and will move to the full chamber. And last but certainly not least is House Resolution 1114 by Representative Parker, which recognizes March 10th through the 14th as Civic Learning Week in Pennsylvania. Is there a motion to consider? Representative Young. Is there a second? Representative Isaacson. Thank you. Representative Parker, would you like to have a couple of remarks on your resolution, ma'am?
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman Schweier, and thank you, Chairman Cutler. And I just ask all the members would vote in the affirmative. This is something passionate about. I'm looking at everybody in this room. I hope a lot of people remember Schoolhouse Rock. So I'm just hoping that we can talk about that. I'm not going to talk about it this morning, but I just want everybody in the affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you for letting everybody know their age, ma'am. I appreciate you, as always. This will be Representative Parker's last resolution that appears before the committee, but with that, are there any negative votes? Well, there are no negative votes. All Democrats will be in the affirmative. On House Resolution 114. Would you leave a roll call? And we'll have a roll call. No, we're good. You're good, okay. Thank you. And all Republicans will be voted in the affirmative, recorded in the affirmative. House Resolution passes, 114 passes unanimously. And I would like to thank everyone for your indulgence on the 9:30 meeting. I will say before I adjourn, it is not my intention to have Monday morning meetings at 9:30. Room availability is certainly a challenge. And so for those of you who are able to join us in person, I'd like to thank you all for being here. And with that, this committee meeting is over. Thank you, everyone.